Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Adults After Dark. As usual, I am your host. My name is Mimi, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in to tonight's adult audio conversation. So, this evening's topic is living with your significant other before marriage. Would you live with your significant other before marriage? Have you lived with your significant other? Did you actually get married, or did you guys break up? Did you talk about marriage before living together or after living together, or what have you? Comment down below. You can actually start sending your comments right now. And while you are doing that, we are going to recap on last week's episode, which was should your significant other, your partner, your spouse know your financial status? Now, for me, I said that it is kind of a conflict between that. Because I think that everyone should have their own account. My spouse doesn't need to know everything in my bank account. Now, it's different if we have a joint account, or I think it's different if you are planning on going in together on a big purchase such as a car or a house. So yeah, that's kind of, like I said, kind of a conflict for me. But my husband does not know all of my financial status, but I do know all of his. I believe I know all of his. I have several accounts that he does not know about, and he would not know about at all if I can help it. All right, guys. So we do have one comment from Unbothered Mimi, and she says, "For me, my husband would know how much I make. Other than that, banking information is a no. I'm definitely not giving someone I'm dating, whether in a committed relationship or not. He will not have access to that information." So I agree, Mimi. But I can say that for me, my husband knows that I have a checking and a savings account. Now, he doesn't know how much is in it, and he also doesn't know that I have 4 other accounts. I have another checking and savings. I have 2 credit union accounts that he doesn't know about, and he would not know about it because, like I said, we all got secrets, and that's my secret. Anything can happen, and I need to be prepared for whatever whatever is to come. So I won't just be out in the cold. So yeah, thanks for your comment, Mimi. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much for tuning in. Now let's get back to tonight's topic. So yeah, you guys can still comment down below on that topic as well. Does your spouse or your significant other need to know your financial status? Also, we are on episode, I believe this is number 14. So, if you have not listened to the previous episodes, go ahead on back and listen to those. And also, I noticed that we have quite a few people that actually listen to the episodes, but not but are not subscribed. So if you continue to come back and listen, go ahead and subscribe and leave your comments down below. Even though we are up to episode 14, if you go back and listen to the other conversations and comment down below, we will still read those comments. I have my notifications on, so I'll get those and we can talk about that on the next episode. Also, I noticed that YouTube does have a live feature now where you can invite guests. Since that is happening now, I would love for you all to comment down below if you want to be a guest on one of our episodes. Whether it's this episode or previous episode, you comment, that would be great. Also, if you have topic suggestions that you think would be a good topic for Adults After Dark, then go ahead and leave that down in the comment box as well. Just a reminder, this is an adult audio conversation, and we do ask that you do not listen to this in front of the minor children, because some of the language may be not suitable for the youngsters. Okay, also, if you do comment below, we all are adults here and we want to be respectful of one another. Okay, so let's get into tonight's segment. It is living with your significant other before marriage. Now, from my personal experience, I have lived with three three guys. One of them I was dating for 14 years, and I believe we lived together for 12 of those years. I've mentioned this person in some previous episodes. The guy that I was with for 14 years. We did live together for 12 of those years. After we broke up, I lived by myself about 4 or 5 years. And then I got into a friends with benefits situation. I met a guy at my job, and he was going through some things, and he moved in with me for probably about 2 years. And like I said, that was a friends with benefit situation. We did talk about that in a previous episode, so if you have not listened to that, go ahead on and listen to that. And then after that, I lived by myself for how long? Probably another 4 or 5 years until I met my husband. But I can say this, guys, there is several reasons why people decide to live together. Why you and your significant other would decide to live together. One of them would be a financial situation. If you all are, in your separate spaces, you paying your rent, your gas, your light, your mortgage, or whatever it is that you're paying, and your significant other is doing the same thing, and you guys decide that you want a long-term relationship and you want to move in together. That could be a financial thing where maybe you're trying to save money, or maybe you just decide you want to live together to before you get married, if that is the end goal, if that's the plan. So I can say this: if anything happened between my husband and myself right now, I would not live with anyone else again. Yeah, this is going to be it for me. I've come to the realization that I like my freedom. I like being by myself. Now, my husband and I, we do have a pretty big house. We have a 4 bedroom house. We have upstairs, downstairs. We have a full basement. And I think that everybody that lives together should have a space that they can go to and get away. Okay, whether you just want a little peace and quiet to yourself, or if you guys have a dispute, a misunderstanding, a disagreement, an argument, or whatever it is that you want to call it, and you just want to get away, but you don't want to leave the house. Okay, so me, I have my space. I have my lady cave or my she shed or whatever you want to call it. I have my office space. I pretty much have my whole upstairs. Now my husband, he has downstairs, he has the basement, and he has the garage. Now some days I may stay upstairs all day. I may go down, probably get something to eat, and then I'll come back upstairs and do whatever it is that I'm doing. My husband, sometimes when he go in the basement, he may be in the basement all day. I probably won't even see him unless he's going to the bathroom or need to come up and get something. Um, if he's in a garage, he may be in the garage all day. I may not see him. He may be out there working on a car, or watching a game, hanging out with his friends, or doing whatever it is that he do out there, and that's his space. Now, living together, I must say, if you live together with your significant other before okay, so I think that when you decide to move in together, you really get to know a person. I always say that you really don't know a person until you live with them. And I say that because, think about it. If we are in a fresh relationship, brand new relationship, and you say you're a young man and you invite over your female friend, um, excuse me, your house is going to be clean. You don't have no dishes in the sink. You don't have no trash on the floor. I mean, you're trying to impress that person, right? And same goes for a female. If you invite your male friend over, your house is gonna be clean. You probably gonna be in the cook. Your hair gonna be done. Your makeup gonna be done. You're gonna have your contact lenses in. You probably gonna have on some cute lingerie, little negligee or something like that, or a cute little tight lounge wear set or something like that. As to when you live together, they're gonna see you with the bonnet on your head, with the flexi rods in your hair, no makeup. You probably got acne real bad. Yeah, you took your contact lenses out and you got, glasses, or when your retainers for your braces, or anything you got on this old um, frumpy pajamas. You threw the negligees in the closet or in the drawer. So you ain't even wearing that no more. You know what I'm saying? Your house may be a mess. You may have clothes all over the place. You don't cook. You don't clean. So yeah, I think that when you live with somebody, you get to know them. You need to get to know their sleeping habits. You get to know if they snore real loud. You get to know if they don't flush the toilet after they use the bathroom, if they don't wash their hands, or you find these things out. And all of those things are pretty much, again, red flags. But us, we will not really pay attention to those things if we are just like spending the night at someone's house or something like that. We won't really pay attention to those things. So yeah, I think that living together before marriage, you get to know the people. You get to know that person. You get to know that real person. Okay, now me, I like to have a clean house. Again, goes back to a red flag. Remember, I told you in one of the other conversations that there are different types of red flags for different things. It doesn't always have to be being abused, right? So let me tell you this story. Myself, my daughter, my mom, and my daughter's boyfriend, and a guy that I was messing around with. We weren't dating, but we were, again, friends with benefits. And we took a trip to Florida one year. And my boyfriend at the time, which is now my husband, he knew about it because we had planned the trip before he was even in the picture, right? And my house was always clean. My house is immaculate. You can get off my floor, right? So he knew about the trip and he was okay with it. Like I said, this trip was already planned. We were just getting together. And red flag for me was I knew that he wasn't a super clean person. Okay, I knew this. Red flag. So we went on this trip and I gave him the keys to my apartment. So, he can kind of keep an eye on everything for me, right? And he called me one day while we were out of town. He called me and said that he had been at my apartment for a couple of days, right? I'm like, okay, no problem. But when I get home, my apartment is a mess. My apartment was a mess. And I was so upset because I'm like, this is not your place. You just don't do people's, you don't mess up people's homes like this. That's just not cool, right? So we, got into a little argument and everything. And I told him, you gotta go. Leave my key. You gotta go. So cleaned up my house and I done talked to him for about a week. And then, he ended up calling, apologizing and everything. So, like I said, I knew from being in his apartment that he wasn't really as clean as me as far as an apartment goes, right? So I knew this and red flag. But when we moved in together, it was pretty much the same thing. Even till this day, I still fuss because the house is not clean. If the lower level of my house is not clean and where I can sit down there and be comfortable, then I won't sit down there. And that's sad to say, but it just won't happen because I want to sit in a clean space, right? And so I would fuss and get mad. So we got a big house. I go upstairs in one of my spaces and I be comfortable. It's simple as that. So yeah, I think that living together before marriage um is something that you really, really have to think about. It's something that you really have to you really have to think about it. I think that's just the best I can put it. But like I say, you get to know the person, like the real person. So yeah. But of course, I found an article. This is from the Pew Research Center, and this was from November of 2019, and it is marriage and cohabitation in the U.S. So this is by Juliana Horowitz and Nikki Graff and Gretchen Livingston. So I'm assuming that they're the ones who wrote this article. And let's see what it says. Marriage and the cohabitation in the U.S. The share of adults who have lived with a romantic partner is now higher than the share who have ever been married. Married adults are more satisfied with their relationship, more trusting of their partners. As more U.S. adults are delaying marriage or foregoing it altogether, the share who have ever lived with an unmarried partner has been on the rise. Amid these changes, most Americans find cohabitation acceptable even for couples who don't plan to get married, according to the new Pew Research Center survey. Even so, a narrow margin says society is better off if couples in a long-term relationship eventually get married. I don't know about that, because I just feel like if that's your end goal, then that's cool. But then you have those couples, and I know quite a few couples that live together for years and they're happy that way. They don't want to be married. Okay, now there's um a lot of legal things to being married. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. It's just a piece of paper. It's just legally that you're doing it. I don't even know if they even still have common law marriages anymore. Um, there's a lot of financial things to go with it if you are married, which is, like your insurance policies. And if something happens, my next of kin is my spouse and things like that. Excuse me. But like I said, some people like just living together and they don't ever plan on getting married. Okay, it also says the survey also examines how adults who are married and who are living with an unmarried partner are experiencing their relationship. It finds that married adults are more satisfied with their relationship and more trusting of their partners than those who are cohabitating. I don't know if I agree with that. The share of U.S. adults who are currently married has declined modestly in recent decades, from 58% in 1995 to 53% today. Over the same period, the share of adults who are living with an unmarried partner has risen from 3% to 7%, while the share who are currently cohabitating remains far smaller than the share who are married. The share of adults 18 to 44 who have ever lived with an unmarried partner is 59%, has surpassed the share who has ever been married, which is 50%, according to the Pew Research Center analysis of National Survey of Family and Growth. Young adults are particularly accepting of cohabitation. 78% of these ages 18 to 29 say it's acceptable for an unmarried couple to live together, even if they don't plan to get married. But majority across the age groups share this view still, even among those younger than 30, and a substantial share of 45% says that society is better off if couples who want to stay together long term eventually get married. Roughly half of those ages of 30 to 49 say the same as the majority of those ages 50 and older. But then too, you have to think about it that it may be a religious reason why you don't live together before marriage. Even you may have an old school parent, like say if a holiday come up or something, you go visit your significant other's parents and they won't let you sleep in the same bed, which is understandable. You're not married. Okay, it also says views about marriage and cohabitations are also linked to religious affiliations. About 3/4 of Catholics, which is 74%, and white Protestants who do not self-identify as born again or evangelical, which is 76%, say it's acceptable for an unmarried couple to live together, even if they don't plan to get married. By contrast, only 47% of black Protestants and 35% of white evangelical Protestants share this view, and while half or more across the group say society is better off if couples who want to stay together long term eventually get married. Now, just because you're married, that doesn't mean you're going to stay together long term. That's just not a fact at all. White evangelicals are the most likely to say this, which is 78%. Among those who are not religiously affiliated, fully 9 in 10 say cohabitation is acceptable even if a couple doesn't plan to get married. And just 31% say society is better off if a couple who wants to stay together eventually get married. I don't think so. I don't think so. Married adults have a higher level of relationship satisfaction and trust than those living with an unmarried partner. Majority of married and cohabitating adults express at least a fair amount of trust in their spouse or partner to be faithful to them. Act in their best interest, always tell them the truth, and handle money responsibly. But the double digits married adults are more likely than those who are cohabitating to express a great deal of trust in their spouse or partner in each of these areas. So it doesn't matter whether you're married or not married. I think that you should trust your partner, your spouse, until they give you a reason not to trust them. Okay, so that is just irrelevant to me whether you're married or not. If you trust them, you trust me. If you don't, you don't. That if you don't trust them, they gave you a reason not to trust them. That doesn't have anything to do with living together, married or not married. That doesn't make sense. Married adults also express higher levels of satisfaction with their relationships. About 6 in 10 married adults, which is 58%, says things are going very well in their marriage. 41% of cohabitors say the same about their relationship with their partner. When asked about specific aspects of their relationship, larger shares of married than cohabitating adults say they are very satisfied with the way the household chores are divided between them and their spouse or partner, how well their spouse or partner balances work and personal life, how well they and their spouse or partner communicate, and their spouse or partner's approach to parenting. Amongst those with younger children younger than 18 in the household. When it comes to their sex life, however, similar shares of married and cohabitating adults say they're very satisfied. Married adults also are more likely than cohabitors to say they feel closer to their spouse or partner than any other adult. About 8 in 10 married adults, which is 78%, say they feel closer to their spouse than any other adult in their life. A narrower majority of cohabitors, which is 55%, say the same about their partners. Even after controlling for demographic differences between married and cohabitating adults, such as gender, age, race, religion, and education, married adults express higher levels of satisfaction, trust, and closeness than those who are living with a partner. I don't think so. I'm thinking like if you are married or you are living together, you're pretty much, like I said, doing the same thing. Only difference is if you're married, it's legal. You still living together. It's just legal in the state's eyes. You know what I'm saying? The reason why people get married and the reason why they move in with a partner differ in some key ways. Most married and cohabiting adults cite love and companionship as major reasons why they decide to get married or move in with a partner, but about 4 in 10 cohabitors also say finances and convenience were important factors in their decision. 38% say moving in with their partners made sense financially, and 37% said it was convenience. In comparison, just 31% of married adults cite finances and 10% cite convenience as major reasons why they decide to get married. About 6 in 10 married adults, which is 63%, say making a formal commitment was a major factor in their decision to get married. This is particularly the case among those who did not live with their spouse before getting married. Among cohabitors, about a quarter, which is 23%, say wanting to test their relationship was a major reason why they decided to move in with their partner. Which is, I said the same thing, because they trying to get to know their partner's living habits, which is, I think it's a good thing. That's just like, if you have sex before marriage. I know this girl that I used to work with. She always said that yes, she would have sex before marriage because she needs to test the waters. She may not like it sex. So, I mean, 90% of us do that. I mean, you still have those that don't have sex before marriage, and those for religious purposes. So yeah, it's kind of a different thing. Many cohabiting adults see living together as a step toward marriage. Most married adults, which is 66%, who lived with their spouse before they were married and who were not yet engaged when they moved in together, say they saw cohabitation as a step toward marriage because they first started living with their new spouse. With their now spouse. Among cohabiting adults who were not engaged when they moved in with their partner, 44% say they saw living together as a step toward marriage. Cohabitors who have gotten engaged since moving in with their spouse or partner. Cohabitors who have gotten engaged since moving in with their partners are more likely than those who are not currently engaged to say they saw living together as a step toward marriage, which is 63% versus 38%. Among cohabitors who are not currently engaged, those with at least some college education are more likely than those with less education to say they saw moving in with their partners as a step toward marriage. Half of cohabiting college graduates who are not engaged, and 43% of those with some college experience say this compared with 28% of those of high school diploma or less education. I don't think that have anything to do with it at all. That doesn't make sense to me. Just because you're educated or not educated doesn't have anything to do with being married or living together. Guys, I do apologize for the noise that you hear in the background. I'm upstairs and my husband is letting the dogs out and he's slamming the door. I don't know why he's slamming the door, but he is. So let's continue. About 4 in 10 cohabiting adults who are not currently engaged, which is 41%, say they want to get married someday. Now, let me say this. Just because you are living with your partner, that does not mean that that's who you're going to eventually marry. Something may happen where you and your partner break up and you all go your separate ways. You may give up the apartment, you move into your space, and your partner move into their space. So it's not a guarantee that you're going to be married to each other because you're living together. Even if you're living together and get engaged, that still does not mean that you're going to be married. Just simple as that. Yeah, think about it as realistic. Okay, it says 58% say they are very likely to marry their current partner, while 27% say this is somewhat likely, and 41% say it's not too. 14% say it's not too or not at all likely that they would marry their partner. About a quarter of non-engaged cohabitors, which is 24%, say they do not want to get married, and 35% are not sure. So, like I said, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get married. They may just like the living arrangement that they have. It may be that they're saving money. It may be easier on the pockets. Your rent may be $2,000. Mine may be $1,000. So we're saving money right there if we moving in together. You know what I'm saying? Your light bill may be $600 and mine is only $150. So, you know, 2/3 of cohabitors who want to get married someday cite either their own or their partner's finances as a reason why they are not engaged or married. About 3 in 10 cohabiting adults who are not engaged but say they would like to get married someday to their partners is 29% on their or their own is 27%. Lack of financial readiness is a major reason why they are not engaged or married to their current partner. About a quarter, which is 24%, say their partners are not being ready financially is a minor reason, and 29% say the same about their own finances. Roughly 4 in 10 cite not being far enough along in their job or career as a major or minor reason why they're not engaged or married to their partners. Similar shares said they, which is 44% of their partners, 47% are not being ready to make that kind of commitment. At least a major reason why they're not engaged or married. Though more cite their partners not being readily rather than themselves as a major reason, which is 26 versus 14%. So now, another thing, I don't think that you have to be financially ready to get married. Think about it. Some people marry really young, 18, 19, 20 years old, and um, they don't have anything. They may still be living with one of them's parents until they get financially ready, but they were emotionally ready to be married. Okay, just because you're not financially ready doesn't mean that you're not emotionally married. You may be in a process. You're still in school. You doing something for yourself. It has to be something to say that I'm ready to get married at this young age. You know. Younger adults are more likely to see cohabitation as a path to a successful marriage. About half of the U.S. adults, which is 48%, say couples who live together before marriage have a better chance of having a successful marriage than those who don't live together before marriage. 13% say couples who live together before marriage have a worse chance of having a successful marriage, and 38% says it doesn't make much difference. I don't think it makes much difference either, because even if you're married, you can have problems and then you get a divorce. If you're just living together, you have problems, then you guys decide to break up. So no, that doesn't make it doesn't make a difference to me either. Adults younger than 30 are more likely than older adults to see cohabitation as a path to a successful marriage. 63% of young adults say couples who live together before marriage have a better chance of having a successful marriage, compared with 52% of those ages, which are 30 to 49, and 42% of those, which is 50 to 64, and 37% of those 65 and older. About a third or more of those 30 and older say cohabitation doesn't have to doesn't have much of an impact on a couple's chance of having a successful marriage. It really doesn't, because if your marriage is going to be successful, it's going to be successful. Any relationship you go through, whether it's marriage, being together, living together, you're going to have your ups and downs. So that doesn't even matter. Adults who live with their spouse before they were married are much more likely than those who didn't to say that the couples who live together have a better chance of having a successful marriage, which is 57 versus 24% respectively. About a third of married adults who didn't live with their spouse before marriage, which is 32%, says cohabitation worsens a couple's chance of having a successful marriage, while 44% say it doesn't make a difference. It does not make a difference. I don't know why they keep bringing that to light, because it doesn't make a difference. If your marriage is going to be successful, which is hard work to have a successful marriage, okay, you can be married for 5 years and you don't it's not a success. You can be married for 30 years and eventually it's not going to be a success. So it's different. You can't just say because I lived with you before we got married that we're going to have a successful marriage. It doesn't. No. The Like I said, my ex and I, we lived together for 12 years. 12 years. And he just started doing stuff that I wasn't going to accept anymore, and we broke up. So it doesn't matter how long before you were married, after you're married. And he actually asked me like 3 times to marry him, and I knew that he was not going to be my husband because I was like, mm-mm. So it doesn't matter. And majority of Americans say cohabitating couples can raise children just as well as married couples. Yes, they can. Just over a half of cohabitating adults ages 18 to 44 are raising children, including about a third who are living with their child they share with their current partner. A majority of Americans, which is 59%, say that unmarried couples who are living together can raise children just as well as married couples. 40% say couples who are married do a better job raising children. No, they do not. No, they don't. No, they don't. White non-evangelical Protestant, oh God, Protestants, which is 57% against the black ones, are far more likely than white evangelists, which is 33%, to say cohabitating couples can raise children as well as those who are married. That don't make sense. I'm just not even gonna get into that as far as raising children, because you can be married and be a shitty parent. You know what I'm saying? You can be married and be a shitty parent. So we're not even going to get to that. The next one says most Americans favor allowing unmarried couples to have the same legal rights as married couples. I don't know. I think that all kind of depends on the state that you live in. I think that depends on the state that you live in. But some of this is it's just crap. It's crap. Um, I think that they're not surveying the right people. Okay, so let's just go over the pros and cons of living together before marriage. And this article is from the Knot magazine, and that's not KNOT. So the pros and cons of living together before marriage. Should we live together before marriage or not? It's an age-old question. Depending on the background, and the answers to the questions can be pretty diverse. There are a lot of factors that can impact your thinking or whether or not to move in together. Wherever you fall, there are certainly pros and cons to living together before marriage. Let's unpack those, keeping in mind that just because living together before marriage works for some couples doesn't necessarily mean it will work for every couple. Think about your end goal. Before evaluating the different pros and cons associated with living together before marriage, it's crucial to answer the question first. What is the end goal? It might be that you already have made your decision about getting married to your partner when they in all honesty have not. This isn't necessarily a reason to panic, but it is certainly helpful to have this information on the table, square away what each of you is ultimately after in a relationship. It could be marriage, it could be serious dating relationship without marriage, or it could be to have fun, whether the goal whatever the goal, clarify it and get it on the table. Imagine, though, that the collective end goal is in fact marriage, not just any kind of marriage. You want a healthy, robust marriage full of deep connections, genuine joy, and growth. So, here are some pros and cons to consider to work towards your goal. First pro, your partner may be deepened and enriched. According to one philosopher, every romantic relationship has at least three kinds of intimacy. Um, Physical, spiritual, and emotional. Okay. Now, next pro, the stresses of getting married can be eased, moving more into a particularly of blending your living spaces. Living together before getting married can ease some of the stress of getting married. As you may or may not know, the process of getting married is a demanding one. So many things to do, so little time to do them. Among everything else you're probably doing, one of the benefits of moving together prior to getting married is you can save yourself some time near the date of your actual wedding. Rather than having to focus on moving your belongings to your partner's space or moving both of your belongings into a brand new space near the time of your wedding, you can mitigate this stress by doing it beforehand. Next pro is reducing your expense can save you more money. Probably one of the most popular reasons for moving in together before getting married is distinctively financial. Simply put, you can save money by joining households. I said that earlier. By living together before getting married, you can go from paying two rents or mortgages to one, from two sets of utilities to one, from two sets of household maintenance costs to one. The financial advantages of sharing living space with your person prior to getting married is hard to deny. Reducing your expenses then does appear to be a clear pro of living together before getting married. What often happens, however, is that couples find other ways to spend the money they would have been saving. So if you're interested in moving in together before marriage as a way to save money, be sure you've gotten practice in the place to help you actually save that extra cash. Now, here's one of the cons. Without a good support, you put your relationship at risk. Moving in with your person is a big deal prior to getting married or not. Really, living with someone is a big deal. Having a roommate, while fun in so many different ways, simply has its challenges. One of the cons of moving in before getting married comes when you don't have a good support system. A good support system looks like a close friend and loved ones with whom you can share honestly and deeply about your struggles of shared life with your person. The struggle of sharing life closely with your person is inevitable. If you've ever had a roommate, then you know that kind of shared life can bring more difficulty alongside more joy. Without a good support system in place, you put your relationship at risk because living together will create new and profound difficulties you two have likely to yet encounter. Next con is what you save in money you might lose in relationship quality. It's true that when you consolidate you and your partner's living spaces into one, you can save money unlike before, but what you might save in money, you can lose in relationship quality. This is a huge con for those moving in together before marriage, primarily or solely to save money. The decision to move in together is a profound mark of volatile intimacy. It is enormous commitment to the other. Without the lifelong commitment the two people make by getting married in place, you put yourself at risk of having to do the adorable work of separating all that you've joined in case things don't work out. Yes, you can run the risk in marriage. You can run that risk in marriage too, but in marriage, the risk is ideally less likely because you're for life commitment to each other. There's no for life commitment or dating, even if you're engaged. So consider the cost of things that's working out that may outweigh the savings of moving in together before marriage. Then another one says you can lose relationship with disappointing friends and family. Yeah, so guys, that was from the Knot magazine, KNOT, and it's kind of conflicting on everybody. If you chose to move in with your partner, I don't care if your friends or your family say, no, you shouldn't do that. That's not good, for whatever the reason is. I think the ultimate decision is still going to be yours. That's just like if your friend come to you and say, hey, my boyfriend or my girlfriend did this, and they talking about, oh, you should leave him. First of all, you shouldn't be doing that. But if you had those friends that, oh, you should leave him, blah, 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 blah. You can give me your opinion, but the ultimate decision is yours. Whatever you're going to do, you're going to do. And then you yourself will have to make that work if that's what you want to do. Relationships are hard work and they're constant work. I don't care if you've known a person 20 or 30 years, you still have to work at that relationship because it changes all the time. Just because you know me for 20, 30 years, things change. So it's your ultimate decision to move in with your significant other before married. So, guys, comment down below. What do you think about that? Do you live with your significant other? Have you lived with a significant other? Did it work out for you? Did you end up getting married? Um, let's talk about it. Comment down below, and I would love to really hear your responses. And yeah, let's see what your ultimate decision is. So guys, we're gonna end this adult conversation right here. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Adults After Dark for now airs every Friday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That may change. Also, I want to say that once every 10 episodes, we will take a small break. Just, enough time to kind of regroup and, I can research more topics and see if we can get people on. Next, I would really, really love to start having guests on. So if you want to be a guest on Adults After Dark, comment down below. Like I say, YouTube now has a feature where we can do live conversations with other people, and I believe if I looked at it correctly, even if we're recording something, it can be private. It doesn't have to go out live at that moment, but it can be private, and we can schedule it to go up whenever we need it for it to go up. So again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Adults After Dark, and I will see you all, or I should say talk to you all next week. Bye bye.